Sunday night here. We're not quite sure what show it is. What is it tonight, Tony? Cosmic Blueprints? What?
Oh, whatever you fancy. Yeah.
All right.
Cosmic Blueprints outside the box again, if you like.
There you go. A little bit of syncretism just for good measure. Yeah, well, we were going to have Jose Barrera on, but couldn't raise him on the line today. So just to make sure, because I talked to him last Sunday when he just got his shipment over to Brazil, where he's living now, of his belongings. So it's probably still unpacking, to be honest with you. A bit of a nightmare. But yeah, lots of weird energy flying around this week. Oh my!
It certainly has. It's been a bit of fun, hasn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. You know, it's a great post by Tammy just came up. So let's just start getting right out there. This was on a news feed in Facebook today. Cops are beating on your babies. Where are her parents? Where's her community? Where is the self-defense? Rather than sheeple allowing our babies to be tortured and assaulted by privateers. They just cashed in on her for her injuries, each of them getting a kickback from the codification after she is diagnosed by hospital. Here we go. I'll leave the names out just for, confidentiality. Anyway, it's all over Facebook, not like it matters, but this young lady was doing exactly what she was told to do at a party last night in Howick that got out of hand. She was leaving the property like the police told her, got pushed to the ground 3 times, and her front teeth got knocked out, and she spent the night in Middlemore Hospital with a drip in her arm. What gives police the right to do this to an innocent teenage girl? Well, never mind that. What gives them the right to do it to anybody? Yes, teenagers play up and get out of control at parties. We all know this. Hey, we were teenagers, right? But what gives the cops the right to enforce such violent actions upon someone that wasn't doing anything wrong? Someone that was following instructions. If her parents had screwed her up as badly as this, they'd be facing charges. But it's fine for the police to do it. This is, yeah, you're right. It's totally messed up. What right do the cops think that they have? This is the county's Mancow police. So I've got a document here that I downloaded as well, and another little update too. Yeah, again, I'm looking at this Dorner case, and I've talked about it a couple of times. And after, laboriously reading through much, I haven't got through it all yet, but I've got through enough to know flag operation when I see it. But yeah, it's again, this is about pushing buttons on people, right? So I'm just gonna read here what was written in the chat room. We do have a caller, by the way. I should maybe see if they want to join in tonight, or I'll do that first. We'll do that first. Hey, caller, area code 774.
Hey, how goes it, Jeremiah?
Jeremiah, I was kind of wondering. Okay, well, we'll leave your line open. So, welcome to the fray tonight. So, hope you're planning on getting a little bit involved, and let's have some fun. Fair?
Well, I'm only up to a certain point. I have to work pretty soon. I'm actually on the road driving for my company. I figured I had a few hours to spare. Listen to the show. Maybe come in and we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, like I said, I'll leave your mic open on this end. So, jump in whenever you feel you want to or can or whatever, and we'll just wing it. Fair enough?
Beautiful. Sounds good.
Okay. Yeah, these are just phone calls, guys. They're not radio shows. They're just, hey, let's get her done, right? Anyway, so here's a post. The Los Angeles Police Department says Dorner, a 270-pound, 6-foot former Navy officer, was fired in 2009 for filing a false complaint of excessive force against a training officer, or his training officer. In an interview aired Sunday on CNN, affiliate KCBS, Beck called Dorner a trained assassin, but said he wouldn't be harmed if he gave himself up. Yeah, horseshit. There's a lot of ways we can spin this. So let's have a look at a few different angles here, just to again. You always got to be mindful of anything that comes out in the media at all, right? Especially something of this caliber. We've had so many Sandy Hooks and Aurora movie, Batman movie, false flags. Shit, the list goes on and on. It's endless. It's like you think they get tired of playing the same games all the time. It's starting to see through them. But, yeah, absolutely horseshit. The spin is so heavy, domestic terrorist. He's only after the cops named. and good enough they should fear like those they've tortured and brutalized. And I brought that up on a show as well. A quote that the chief of the LAPD had said, scary and worrisome. But this is referring to the cops who got ambushed. They were ambushed. They couldn't, do anything to defend themselves. And imagine going about your workday with that in the back of your mind. Yeah, we do. Fear of the cops. So that's a little taste of your own medicine there, guys. So the mirror's going to start reflecting now. You see, they've done pulled stunts like with Dean Clifford, and this is standard operating procedure for these bikers. As soon as somebody decides to wake up. Here's the thing, guys. When you're listening, look at the logic of this, will you? Just try to look at the logic of this. You got people that are wanting a better world. That are, daring to stand up and say, yeah, lawful, honorable, peaceful, truthful, and you do the honorable thing, and you let everybody know. Cops, everybody, right? And the next thing you got a tail on your ass, like you're a criminal. But of course, to them you are, because you're disrupting the status quo, and woe betide anyone that disrupts the status quo, because they want to be the masters, and they want to keep everybody in check, draining your life force through taxes, fines, just keep draining you spiritually using their churches, courts, whatever you want to call it. Same thing, court is church is court. I've mentioned this before. When you think back, what were the early courts? Well, gosh darn, they were in the churches. So it hasn't changed. They still wear the same funny looking robes, and they still walk around with this air of I'm God and you're nothing but a slave. And had one quote come out of the Italian group who had talked to a judge, and yeah, the judges only see the people as slaves, and that was a literal quote from this guy. So there's your quote justice system. And this is why I also say that anybody thinking that they can solve anything in their legal system, good luck, because they don't even follow their own rules. I proved that. They can't stand on their own rules, because you see, when you get smart enough within their rules, and you can hand them back to them and show them how corrupt and fraudulent the whole system is, with mortgages and loans and the whole banking system, everything, it's all fucking bullshit. It's all garbage. And as soon as you find that out, using their legal system, they don't give a shit. The bottom line is this: they just want to shut you up. And that's exactly why they grabbed Dean. I mean, how dare someone, fishtail a little bit with their truck on an icy road on private property, even, and then dare say, someone was assaulted for defending themselves after they get jumped from behind,
Well, this is the point, isn't it?
Yeah, So again, these cops have got they've got some karma coming at them from their own, and it's got nothing to do with us. And this is the thing: we stand and hold the peace. We don't condone violence or anything of that nature. We don't. Cards fall where they may. You see, because evil will destroy itself, and those that live by the gun will die by it. That's standard rule. And I know that governments around the world are shitting themselves, especially the American government, with regards to, how many armed Americans there are. And I'll tell you, start pulling any stunts whatsoever, you're going to see a nation that'll wake very quickly, and it's going to be a rather angry one. That's the reason why Yamamoto wouldn't invade America, because there was a gun behind every blade of grass, I think was his quote. They would never do that, because they knew that. So that's what you're dealing with. But I do want to finish this little bit off here, because I want to carry this opinion across. Yes, absolutely. Not saying that this should be applauded, or that any single soul has authority to hunt these evil beings, but this is the pendulum swing of the systems they created. Absolutely, mirror, mirror. That's exactly what I'm working on an essay on. I'm probably a page or two in already. Anyway, if you read the guy's manifesto, he without a doubt tells the truth. Yep, absolutely. They do not want to take this guy alive. He even reveals his own problems of anger and violent behavior as discovered by the military, and yet Mr. Approved for LAPD. The mindset of a PD, if the portion ranting on gun control while he himself bought the accoutrements he said nobody in their right mind would need, things like silencers and whatnot. The female copy described proudly wearing the title of Chupacabra is the epitome of every female LAPD officer I've ever met. This individual has obviously met them. They consider all dirtbags, scumbags, subhuman, and use these terms freely. His account of PD comparing the most gruesome killings of the day and equating their murders to wave runners for overtime is chilling and quite despicable. Yes, it is quite despicable. Dorner is snapped, yeah, no doubt. Absolutely, yeah. But and I do know that he isn't lying because I mean my own interactions with police departments. These guys are self-righteous, arrogant. I'm God, and I have a gun, and you're going to believe it, or I'm going to shoot you. That's basically the only attitude I've ever come across with any of these guys. You know, the only thing that a cop's terrified is someone with an actual education, because as soon as you show any sense of savvy, these guys are completely obliterated, and they know it. You know, because they don't have the IQ to match. They haven't got the ability to read because it's been trained out of them. What they have is a little notepad, a pen, and you know, directives from their bosses to go and collect money. They call them tickets, but it's monetization. A good example today, I saw a video of a young girl walking in the desert, picking up stones, and you know, just spending the day in the desert. And police chopper, you know, went over 2 or 3 times and finally landed. And the guy came over in typical cop fashion. I mean, yeah, she actually said it right at the end of it. I'll let you, you know, watch the video. It's just incredible. You know, it's the amount of arrogance. Can you imagine a police chopper? You know, and of course she said, you know, what's going on? She says, well, I'm investigating something. Yeah, well. If you had an itchy ass, you know, I wouldn't ask you what it was, but you know, because you investigate that yourself. But you know, that's always a standard line from these Gumbies. You know, well, I'm investigating something. Well, great, I'm glad to hear it. I'm investigating something too. You know, but anyway, just your thoughts, guys.
Yeah, well, this is the point. It's any excuse to see if there's something they can ticket you for, isn't it? They're flying around or they're driving around looking for somebody to see who they can pull and make the next buck. And anybody that wants to stand up in any way, shape or form against a system that charges you for walking down the street, driving down the street or whatever is, well, there you go. As I said the other day, does a bird need a passport to fly? You know, we're human beings. Do I need a passport to walk across a field? No, but there you go. Same sort of thing, you know. Monetisation of, you know, the masses.
Yeah, and again,
doesn't like being monetised, they're a target. Yeah,
and it goes even further than that. It's implementing the fear, right? These guys want to implement fear, you know, and that's their only tool. And once they start to understand that people are becoming fearless of them, because when things get so shitty that you know, existence becomes unbearable, well, I got to tell you, things get shittier, and not for them. You know, so this is the thing. I'm not, you know, I often wonder what goes through the heads of these blockheads, you know, especially the ones that are all dressed up in their black riot gear that look like the next Gumby, right? You know, there's no identity there. It's just automaton robotics, and I often wonder how these guys and girls can go home at night and look their own kids and you know, spouses in the face and say, I did a good thing today. I beat the shit out of somebody. I mean, I was on a page there going down a list of, you know, dogs that were shot. You know, I mean, this is so prevalent right now. You know, I mean, we start to show off the whole idea of this system. The way it is right now is beyond despicable. And I'm just wondering how much more the people are going to take before they actually start really reacting. And the thing is, we're trying to hold the peace here. This is the game. I got to tell you though, you're not going to start keeping the peace and getting things in order until those that are creating the harm, most of them for whatever reason, some power trip or whatever, are going to start to realize that what they're doing is evil, and they're doing it on behalf of people that are loving it. They want humans killing humans. There's lots of money in it. You see, and the thing is too, these cops that the one that got shot by this Dorner kid, you know, the government's going to collect on major money on that. You know, this cop's family's never going to see anything. You know, every foreclosure that you're going to see, there's at least between 10 and 20 insurance policies written on it to go into foreclosure. Banks, that's what they want, because when they get foreclosure, they can cash it on the insurances, steal the land, and then resell it fictitiously even. This is the modus operandi, and I'm not sure at what point people are going to have had enough. How many of us have to stand up literally in the face of it and have our lives destroyed to wake others up to the fact that it's going on? There are some of us that have had the literal shit beaten out of us, and we're still standing, and we're going to stand. We're not asking people to do that. This is just, get educated. The fact that anyone's tuned in right now, the listeners that are listening right now, is a good sign, because it shows at least you're awake enough to try to pay attention and get the word out to people. But here's my question: what are you going to do next?
That means do. That means carry out some action that for the benefit of the human race. It doesn't just mean sit there and think about it. It means actually do something. Not against it, for it.
Yeah, this is not about...
Yeah, guys.
Oh, go ahead, Jeremiah, yeah.
Well, I was saying, this is the time, to do it, to take action, you can only say so much and post so much, but you actually have to, get out there and, move into that direction where positive change is going to happen. I'm at a point right now where I'm ready to talk to any random stranger, be like, hey, man, have you heard of the one, People's Public Trust? Do you know who you really are, and do you know what they've done to you and what system that you're in? This is an illusion. This is a matrix. Wake up. And I just want to smack everyone that I see at the supermarket that is walking around blindly like it's just... And I'm just ready, though. I'm just ready to move, and I'm ready to bring action and some positive reinforcement to this new realm of being.
Absolutely.
Couldn't agree more. Keep going.
Well, yeah, I'm just going to... It's just more and more reinforcement. But the thing of it is right now, and I'm actually at a particular spot right now, my best friend is within the police academy, and he just took 15 million Scoville units to his face, willingly, in his eyes. And I guess they need to do that to carry it. Do you need to get shot to carry a gun? That's stupid. So it doesn't make any sense. And it's just, you're right, it's like these, automatized robots. They just do whatever they're told, and then there's no emotion, and it's just like, this is how you personify us in this physical form, where we're going to react in this kind of way for you to keep, your peace, to keep whatever it is that you need to supplement whatever it is that you need. And it's just, it's really all about right now, all I'm thinking about is just getting this information out to as many people as you possibly can. I'm sending intentions out to the universe and just saying, hey, universe, we need to change. I know this earth is ready to start feeling good again, so we need to just get this information out. We need to contact our neighbors and just tell them, hey, this trust is out. This is an official document. You cannot deny this. And you have to wake up. You have to see how things are, or you're going to continue to follow into this kind of zombie-like state. And it's really just a matter of just, spreading it, like quantity over quality at this point. It's just getting it out there. But quality actually, now that I say it, it's actually very, very important. That leads me to my other point, where we have to make it in a delicate, genuine, loving, just divine kind of way where we can connect to these people and just help them remember who they really are. They're just, the only one that binds them is them. It's just look up all these examples in quantum physics, stating that you're the observer and you're affecting your reality. That's science. That's proven. Look at the ancient, the flower of life, and then you have, this beautiful form that represents within the 7 days of creation, or rather the Genesis pattern, as the body, or rather, something starts to form, and then it follows that kind of Vesica Pisces, and it goes throughout those regular forms with that. It's all simple geometries, and it's fractal. You can look at a tree and be like, well, hey, that tree is beautiful, and it's perfect. It's harmonizing both the logical and both the creative processes beautifully, harmoniously, and look at it like it's going to grow forever. As long as it has enough ground to replicate whatever it is that's happening, above ground, it needs enough room to grow on the lower aspect. And just seeing this, just seeing it, and I guess, it's kind of biased for me to say, look at this beauty. When you're not looking for it, you're not going to find it. So the most important thing, and I'm going full circle here, is just getting this information out. Like, I'm ready to create flyers of this One People's Public Trust, post it in my grocery store, help people find this information, just find something that gets to the people, like something that resonates with them, and like a path of least resistance, where they can start to actually question. Just target like the average Joe, whatever appeals to the average Joe at this point, and then just make that possible, and then put that information in there.
Absolutely. Stickers, flyers, there's stickers. I mean, if you can print out sort of like a page of 12 stickers, as soon as you get the pagination right, you print out one page, you get it right, and then just print out page after page after page, and just carry a set of stickers in your wallet and stick them on phone boxes. I mean, bus stations, pub toilet rooms, anywhere,
Yeah,
at least
Tony.
Sitting down taking a dump and go for the toilet roll. Oh, what's that then?
Or stick it on every envelope you mail as well. This is the thing. Stick it on $20 bills. Stick it on things that people are gonna need to look at and touch and go, what the? Okay, sticking it on telephone poles is one thing, but I'll tell you, you pull out a $20 bill with a sticker on it, you're gonna read it.
Yes.
Walk past people and say, here, have a sticker, it's free, stick it on the jumper. Oh, thanks. And they can't see it, and then they get back home and look at it and go, oh, what's all this about then? Handing out free in the street.
Yeah, exactly. Just a caller, I just opened the line up there for you, area code 661.
Hello.
Who have we got?
Yeah, this is Aaron.
Aaron, how you doing? Thanks for calling in.
Doing great.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Enjoying. Just listening to what you guys are talking about, and you and Tony are doing a great job, and Santos, and I was just thinking that all of this stuff that's going on with Dean and everything. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
The stuff that's going on with Dean and the way the government's treating him, and just the world that we live in, this illusion that we live in. And I was trying to talk to some people that I knew in the past, and it's like if you try to talk to somebody who has never really ever been affected by the system in a way that really jars their system, like the fact that they're taxed, they don't really think that, well, that's just the way it is, and it doesn't really hurt their comfort zone too much. It doesn't really happen that people actually become awake until they start knocking on your door, and then they start really violating your rights and entering your home and stuff like that. Or they pick you up off the street, they take you into jail, and it's like, oh, well, I can do this because I wear a badge. But nobody really thinks of the repercussions until it hits home to a level where they say, hey, this isn't right. This isn't the way it should be. And I really don't know what it's going to take for the general public to actually become awake unless something happens on a mass level to where they just say, hey, this is enough. The only reason why more people now are becoming more awake is because of the financial situation. It has hit home a little bit more than it normally would.
Well, yeah.
So they're thinking, and I know that's true with me because, what came to me was when I went into court and found out how corrupt it was, and I didn't really understand then what I was going through when I went through it. Then I have police coming into my house just because somebody calls and says, oh, we got a call that says that you were abusing your kids. So just because somebody calls, I guess that makes it true. And so then they operate off presumptions. Of course, they never really ever did anything, but the fact is that, I didn't know who I was at the time, but if I hadn't gone through all of that, I wouldn't be awake to the point that I am right now. and understanding that we are in a control system. But when I try to talk to other people about it, it's almost like I'm talking like a foreign language to them. They don't understand the extent of they have no clue who they are. And when you try to tell them what they've done to them, they're like looking at you, well, there's not anything I can do about that, so, it's just the way it is.
Well, yeah, again, I totally agree. I had that chat, pretty much the same chat with Kyler Davenport earlier today, and we were discussing, what's it going to take? And for me, it's a very simple answer. People are going to have to get rocked out of their comfort zone to a point of such discomfort that they're going to ask themselves, what's going on? Just so everyone knows, anyone that's called in, Skype or phone, your lines are open. So I will ask that if you're not talking to mute, but feel free to jump in. This is going to be a Sunday night free for all. So let's and don't be shy either, okay? Because you've said one thing doesn't mean to say you can't say something else. So we just be mindful of the pacing and what have you. Area code 619. Who we got? Hello, area code 619. Questions or comments? Okay, maybe just listening. And I know we have Chris on the line as well. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I just want to thank you guys, you folks personally. Kate, very much. I, the one who sent you the Facebook request about the radio show, the No Taboo radio. I just caught the show earlier. And I heard what you folks were talking about, and I just wanted to say that I'm a perfect example of someone who couldn't just post things anymore. And I heard you and Tony Z, and I heard you talking to Kyler and talking about, come on, folks, do something. So I did, and I've started my own radio show.
You did. Chris. No Taboo Radio. So and Chris, make sure that you contact myself and Tony or Tony direct, and we'll get you hooked into Syncrenicity.
Thank you.
Oh, hey, no, listen, thank you. This is what we need, and that's what Syncrenicity is all about, to bring everyone to the same table. So we want to make sure that everyone's part of the same team. We have the same intent. We all have different roads that we're taking. There's no question there. Where I'll use religions just as an example. I don't care if you're Christian, Muslim, Jew, Buddhist. I don't care what you are. If you're aiming for the same target that we're all aiming for, we're all on the same team. So all those supposed divide and conquer tactics that they've used for millennia have suddenly been washed away. And that's what we need to do. We need to stand as one. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what you think. I don't care what color you are, what race, gender, sexual preference. I don't give a rat's ass about that. If there's love in your heart and we're all aiming for a better world, we're all on the same team and we're all going at the same target. And you know what? By the time we get there, we're all going to get along anyway. So all of this other stuff is now defunct, because once the truth is revealed on all levels, it won't matter, because there is a level that you get to that you go, it's all bullshit. Yeah, it is. Promise.
Well said. That was excellent.
Well, that's truth. That's not me. That's just truth. That's what resonates, right?
Very, very true. And I heard you talking about police abuse earlier, and I just did a show with a friend. I have a friend, Ray, and he's kind of going through a rough time, and I said, why don't we do a show together, and we can talk about whatever you want. And he wanted to do more of a comedy type of thing, but we just don't prepare anything. And he said, well, just wing it. But when you wing it with me, I am who I am, and my views are my views, and it's going to go that way. And we got into this topic or this conversation about police abuse, and he was saying, oh, yes, I know it's sensationalized, but it doesn't happen that often. And I went and found, over 60 counts, and I posted them on our Facebook page in the link of that show, just to show. And that was like 2 hours worth of just while I was online, just snooping around while I was doing other things. And it was, I could have kept going. It would have just been staggering. I mean, it's just getting outrageous right now.
Well, I was going to say, well, you're off to a good start, Chris. You have got a smoking radio voice.
Oh, thanks.
No, you do. You have a voice that carries. So.
Oh, thanks.
I need you to know that, because sometimes when we're doing this, we don't realize the power of what we're doing. And when I hear a voice like yours, Tonys and Santos and so many others, I go, yeah, these are people that can carry the message. You know, people like Tammy Pepperman, who starts her show on Thursday this week. Yes, I'm so looking forward to that. Her and Pat are just going to get on and rock the airways with a whole lot of beautiful truth, and I'll be sitting in on that one for sure. Just babysit the first round with them, and well, if you know me, I have a tendency to get involved in things anyway. But just want to get that out there. But definitely, Chris, and hang in for the call tonight. This is going to be a free for all. I better actually scroll down a bit because the board's filling up here. Anyway, this is going to be a free for all. So let's start to hammer out some solutions here. And we've already talked about them. It's just you can go down to a Staples or a Business Depot or whatever the hell you call them, office supply places, and you can get a stamp made up, and you can get whatever you want made on it. Those self-inking stamps. So every debt note that comes into your vicinity, just stamp the damn thing. Up here in Canada, you're probably going to have to use a sticker because the money's plastic now, right?
Now, yes.
But I'll tell you. It doesn't have to be a big sticker, something that says you're being robbed by the banks, something like that. And, you might as well just spread the truth for the sake of truth. So jump in, guys. I talk all the time.
Well, I just...
Carry on. Go for it, Chris.
I just wanted to thank Kate for the kind compliment. And I'll say one thing that I had no idea about, and I noticed after listening to my first show and two shows, I think now, the verbal tics that you have, I said probably about, 1,000 times. It's embarrassing. And the disjointed sentences and things like that you're just not aware of. And when you listen back, it's an eye-opener. So it's something that was a real shocker for me. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Whoever is building a house in the background, could you mute that, please? Hello. I'm just going to go down the list here, and I know it's not Jeremiah because he's driving. Anyway, okay, there, the house construction stopped. All right. Sounded like someone was moving bottles around or something. But, yeah, again, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance out there, and that's what we're trying to break through. We're dealing, as we were talking last night with Elliot and Kyler, and Tony, of course, we've got to be mindful, and Elliot made a very poignant point, and I'm going to bring it up again, and I'm as guilty as the next one about it, of being frustrated with the, quote, sheeple mentality. But see, here's the thing, if we're going to continue to, throw that out on it, all that's doing is enforcing more of that mentality. That's the intent, that if you're calling something, sheeple, then that's what you're making them. That's your intent. So let's call them all-powerful creator gods that just haven't awakened yet. So let's get the power back into the hands and the minds of people that are going to make the difference. That's all of us. So that's just kind of one of the points I want to make.
Exactly, and if I could just add to that, I totally agree with that, Kate. Just see them as the gods that they really are. That they're not these sheeple. They're only that way because they believe they're that way. If we can see them as who they really ultimately are, then absolutely, then we're helping them actually out the best way that we possibly can. So that was a wonderful point, Kate.
Well, again, it's truth, you see, and we got to stop. We got to stop reversing things in that proverbial mirror and empowering people. Because just because some of us, quote, woke up, unquote, sooner, for whatever reason, I'll tell you that the big instance in my life was I was 11 years old in Belfast and was at a bomb blast about a minute and a half after it went off, and that was my day of reckoning. That was the day I grew up, and that was the day I decided that there's something wrong with this world. And I decided then that I can make a difference. And I may not have been fully aware of what it was. There's other points in my life earlier than that there wasn't, awakened. But that was a real defining moment for me. And we have to find our defining moments. That's why I was asking, I've asked a few times on shows, what was your moment? And what we have to remember is just because we had a moment earlier than someone else is still walking around in a supermarket with her head firmly up their ass based on the indoctrination of the system, of the churches, of the schools, of the policy enforcements and the fear that is permeated throughout our society. That doesn't make us any better. And if we do take that stance, we end up becoming as arrogant as the elites. And this is what we need to reverse. Reverse, the Son of God, truth, himself, herself, itself. We're going to reverse out of here. So, and I've said it many times, everything in this place is in the mirror. It's backwards. So you got to get past the looking glass to the point where there are no reflections. There is just reality. So it's time to empower our fellow humans, our fellow earthlings here, and not disparage and not get, we've got to be the patience of Job. We have to be the patient parent, because that's the role we effectively have adopted by taking our stance and deciding to stand in the face of tyranny. And that's what we're doing. We're not standing in the face of trouble, and we're standing in the face of tyranny. And it's people, and Tammy had made a point in one of the rooms there, and I fully agree, that this Dorner, this young man, using the words, he snapped, no. What happened within him was an extreme case of his humanity awakening, and he had had enough. It's like the gentleman a number of years back that decided he went through every recourse that he could against the IRS and this and that and the other, and he ended up taking I believe it was a Cessna 152 into the IRS building. I forget what city it was, but there was that is the extent that some people get to. And we won't call it snapping, we'll call it the breaking point of tired of tyranny and evil. And, the old saying goes, if not me, then who? And they've just taken it upon themselves to a more extreme level. Not something that I would do. However, I'm not going to stand back and judge it as being right or wrong. I'm going to stand back and observe it as being the net result and the effect of what the system created. And the system's going to go down by itself because it created it.
This is it. I mean, look at the people out there. I mean, not talking specifically about cops, but this occasion, but look at the people out there that go out and work like bastards to own their own home and to keep the kids fed and to keep the bills paid and all the rest of it. And then they fall behind on a couple of mortgage payments, and then they end up, in court, and then they get fined shed loads of money, and, basically they end up losing everything that they've constantly worked for. I mean, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. They're coming after everything you can possibly earn and more. And if you can't pay it, you're going to lose everything. Is that what you really want? Is that what you want for your kids? Is that what you want for your future? To constantly be battling like a son of a bitch to pay courts, to pay police fines, to pay council tax, to pay bills, to live, to pay to have a house. You know what I'm saying? That you've got to pay 3 times its value in the first place in order to get it. To be taxed up to your eyeballs on every sodding thing you buy. Just in the UK, I think it's like 200. The last time I looked, which was a year ago, it was over 211 separate taxes on the same stuff. By the time you've paid your tax on your income and then your tax on the petrol, it's just ridiculous. Tax. You know what I mean? They're trying to take everything off you could possibly accumulate. And at the same time, they're all over us. And the longer you leave it, the less you're going to get, and the worse it's going to get to fight for what you've actually got. And the harder it's going to get to fight for what you've actually got, or to fight to keep it, as it sounds like, But yeah, at what point, when you've lost everything or when you've still got things, do you want to start fighting back? It's your choice. You can wait till you're on your knees in the gutter and starving to death together with your family. You've just been booted out by the bankers because you lost your job and couldn't pay your mortgage and then got taken to court and couldn't pay those fines as well. You've got a choice. You can make a stand while it's comfortable to live still, just about, or you can wait till you're absolutely screwed or even in prison before you've tried to go, oh, fuck, you just locked me up. What did you lock me up for? Well, you couldn't pay your fine. Well, why did you fine me in the first place? Because you were walking down, you dropped a piece of litter. You know what I'm saying? When is going to be, that's enough, that's too late. And for most people, while you're inside, it's going to be too late then. You'll have to wait to get out and then start all over again, for which by then, they'll probably lock you up for telling the truth, which is exactly where they're going. So you can stand up now or you can stand up later. either way, you've got to stand up, because if you don't stand up, you're going to end up getting locked up anyway, because you said the wrong thing later on down the line when they've made it illegal. So your choice, now or later. The longer you leave it, the worse it's going to get. I'm afraid that's the truth. Whether you like it or not is irrelevant.
Yeah, I can vouch for everything that you said based on the fact that the entirety of my life, I will tell you what tomorrow represents to me. Tomorrow represents to me the first anniversary of the last time I was able to hug my children and be in my own home and sleep in my own bed. And that was February 12th of 2012 that they SWAT raided my house and kidnapped me at gunpoint. And 2 weeks later, I went back to make my stand and spent 28 days in solitary making that stand, because I'd proven that all the banks were corrupt. I crossed every T and dotted every lie. And the only thing that I proved that day was that none of their laws matter. They're going to make the shit up as they go. And the longer we play in their little paradigm, their little illusion, the longer we give it energy by thinking somehow it is fucking real, pardon me, the longer it persists. And people listening out there, for those that have listened to me for any length of time, I speak from the heart, and I shoot from the hip. And the fact of the matter is, I never went off the air, and I have been on my knees since then, climbing. And I'll tell you something else here. It's out of the frying pan into the fire. And I will bring this up because it needs to be said, because I don't want any guilt by association with Freedom Reigns and any of the fraud and bullshit that was going on behind the scenes. We got a lot of information given to us, and from behind the scenes people that knew what was going on and had spent some time, I wouldn't say investigating us, but checking into Tony, myself, and whatnot, before they came forward, just to make sure that we weren't part of that, which of course we're not. So, and just for the record, I will say it now, and I'm hoping that they're listening, because I actually have a photocopy of the kited check that was claimed to be stolen by another and signed by another, with the individual's name on it, because I don't know about you, but I think a dental office would have a hard time taking a check from an old guy with a woman's name. So there you go. Just to let people know that, and for anyone that has any questions as far as last Monday, where my anxiety was and where it was directed, that's exactly where it was directed, because one of my big fears was the guilt by association with, I know Santo had nothing to do with it, and was just doing a show or whatever, but please, those listening, please understand my fears in guilt by association, because the last being, one of the last beings, we've got Tony and so many others, but that I want to see tainted in any way, shape, or form is Santo Bonacci. I will stand to the death for that man. And there's my agitation. So if anybody has any questions or wonderings as to why I take the positions I do, well, I take them because I have very good reason. I don't say things lightly. I speak from experience only. And if I say something, it's because I've experienced it or I've seen something that gave me a reason to say it. So anyway, just I wanted that on the record and off my chest, because I can't even imagine what was going on behind the scenes, behind Tony's mind and Santo's back with regards to Freedom Reigns. So I'm going to leave it there and just watch that whole episode from my hands, and just be grateful I was able to speak to people as long as I was, even with the nonsense that was going on that we were totally unaware of. So just wanted to make that crystal clear.
Yeah, and that includes evidence that's been passed to us about all sorts of records that are actually filed in the courts about that whole situation and who's behind it. So we have the proof. There's no question whatsoever.
Yeah, we have the documents.
There's no question.
Yeah, so in case anyone's wondering, we actually have the physical proof, and it came to us from someone that took their time to get it to us just to make sure that we were on the level. And absolutely. I even said it last night. I'm horrified to think that anyone would associate me with that, when that's exactly the very thing I'm trying to, destroy. It was fraud that destroyed my existence that I had. Why the hell would I want to be part and party to it? Some people thrive in this shit. I'm not one of them, and that's exactly what I'm up against, and that's what I fight against, and I will tear it down as hard as I possibly can. And I'll speak my mind. So there you go. Thoughts, anyone?
Yeah. I mean, just to solidify this, Kate, I mean, I speak for myself. I'm sure I speak for a lot of you, most of your listeners, if not all of them, that, we never, I mean, myself never would have ever thought that, you would have wanted to do something out that for your own good. I mean, that means that everything you're living is a lie. So, I mean, in Tony and Santos, I mean, I see you guys have the bestest of intentions, and you're only looking out for everyone else, and it's beautiful. I mean, you've sacrificed so much to get to this point. Why would you do that? So, I mean, it's just, you have nothing to worry about, my friend. All love here, all love, from your listeners. I guarantee it, so no worries.
I second that. I agree 100%. I didn't question it at all.
Well, again, understand where our concern was, because there's and I know this for a fact. This is why I love when you guys call in. There are so few people out there that are actually calling the shit for what it is. They're going to walk around issues. They don't want to step on anybody's toes. They don't want to say something to get them on a list. I guarantee you I'm on every friggin' list you can imagine. I don't give a shit. The bottom line is they can keep their fictitious name list, because I'm not the name. You see, I'm the living being. My vessel, this meat stick that I'm walking around in, is where I live, right? You see, I am. And I will always be. Meat sticks, not a drop. They're like American Tourister or Samsonite. You get a different piece of luggage. Just so I happened to pick up the wrong one this time, and it's okay. It's all good. Hey, I just had to get back in the game. I said, I'll take that one.
But is it the wrong one, or
No,
is it maybe you're just meant to have this experience? And is it a bad experience? You are you. You are you, and that's the main thing, and that's what I've learned from you folks, and that's what that's the thing that blew my mind.
I totally get that, and yes, it's definitely all things for a reason experience that I'm going through, because I'll tell you what it did give me. It gave me a rather unique experience and a rather unique perspective. Is probably the best way to put it, because a lot of things didn't make sense from day one. I'm going, what's wrong with this picture, right? And I know who I am. I've always known who I am, and yeah, you're absolutely right. But I will say, on a very light side of this too, I remember this going back probably about 4 years ago, and when I finally did, quote, come out, unquote, to friends and whatever, it took a while before I brought it up on the air and stuff like that. And the only thing going through my mind is like, here I am. I know I'm finding truth, and I know I'm uncovering a lot of stuff, and I know I'm doing this and that and the other, and I'm, helping people here and helping people there. But who the hell is going to believe a two-spirit? Who, do you understand where I'm coming from? So
I can appreciate why you would think that, and that would be a natural way to go. But honestly, from my perspective, I don't see it as such I'm happy you're happy. You found yourself, and that you being who you are is the best you, and thereby we're benefiting from that. And I feel like I've benefited huge from you and from Tony and from Santos and Dean. I saw Dean last year in Toronto. I went to a seminar in March. I met Carrie Lee from Lifting the Veil there also. I've learned a lot from her also, and it's been a nice for me. The synchronicity idea is just so profound to me, because everything seems to be tied together to from my perspective, and I'm just grateful beyond belief. So just pass that along. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I've had, it's been interesting. I think that's probably the best way to put it. And here's the bottom line. If I couldn't be honest with me, how can I be honest? come across and tell people that I'm being truthful and honest with them. So that was my honor conflict, and that's actually what's broke it. And so, okay, well, fine, I'll dance my dance, and cards fall where they may. And one of the standard things that I will say as well is that beings in this particular perspective, we're the ones that are most afraid and judgmental of self than anyone else, and that's been my experience anyway. And they've all been good. I can probably count on one, maybe two fingers of anything that would be considered a negative reaction. So, but again, the thing is, when you're bringing truth to the table, it doesn't matter. And I said it in that one thing. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter what's race, creed, color, whatever. Truth is. It's self-evident, and I got to tell you, that's the only place I can live. And for those that really want to get a good insight, I would recommend them. There's a beautiful animation on YouTube called Plato's Cave. It's about 5-6 minutes long. Might even be a bit longer. But anyway, I would highly recommend people that are really struggling, like myself and Toby, and so many others. Because and I'm not talking in the physical sense here. When you've been in the game as long and to the depth that we've been in it, pulling those bootstraps up every day is a task, is a chore. And I would tell you that Plato's Cave will resonate with you. And once you watch it, you understand what I'm saying. This is not something I can put into words. It's not something I can explain. It will resonate with you. I promise you that. Plato was a fairly bright individual. Anybody?
Is that the allegory of the cave? Is that the one? Yes, the prisoner who escapes and goes out.
And sees the world and then is forced to come back, and they would choose death before having to go back into that mindless paradigm. And that's exactly where we're at. Mm-hmm. See, the trouble with truth is once you find it, you can only do one of two things. You can accept it or deny it. And either road is difficult because, one, you're dealing in a lie if you deny it, and two, you're going to be very alone for a while once you accept the truth and stand in it. Everyone that's in this call and everyone that's listening, exactly what I'm talking about. And that's why I tell people as well, don't go out of your way to try to wake people up as far as family and whatever. You're just going to end up with a lot of frustrations. What I suggest people do is just live your life and show them by example. And they'll see it for themselves, or they won't. And they're not your problem. And that's the thing about emotions, too. As much as I want everyone in my family and friends and everything to wake up, it doesn't matter. I mean, hey, I've been around so many people for, decades, and they're still asleep. And there's no amount of attempting to awaken someone up until they're ready and do it for themselves. So I just trying to save people a little bit of heartache here, because I've got the most precious people closest to me that, although awakened, still don't understand, and I get it. I totally get it. And this is the part of Plato's Cave where I can't go back down those stairs and be chained with my head looking at shadows, the illusion all day anymore. And I made that choice a long time ago. Yeah.
I think the vast majority of people out there, I think their goals in life is, are to live comfortably and live comfortably old as long as they can, as comfortable. I was talking to you folks maybe, a month ago when I mentioned that there was all kinds of pharmaceutical places or pharmacies opening up all over the place, and they seem to be very popular. It seems to be a growing industry because people want to live longer, more comfortably, but to what end? Where's the benefit? What did they learn? There's no self-awareness, willfully just doling out whatever the government tells them to do and listening to the experts, right? Because we've been trained to have to listen to, from school, right? We were taught you have to listen to your experts. We can't do anything on our own. We've been indoctrinated into this into this sad state, and it's fortunate. But I do see people opening up and starting to come around, and that's nice to see. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, every day they're just by virtue of maintaining and holding our position, it forces the nature's laws into action of dominant frequency, and that's one of the reasons why it comes after people like us, and especially people like Dean, who is doing incredible work, just getting the information out that people can grasp and go to. It's I forget where I was going there, but I just got wrapped up in thinking of Dean there. But the people are awakening. There's no question. Oh, dominant frequency. Yeah. So by virtue of us holding position here, by default, lower frequencies have to resonate up to fill in the void below. Nature abhors a vacuum, right? So that's why they come after people like Dean and myself and Tony and everybody, right? Because what they want to do is keep that energy down. And I know I've been under heavy whatever attack because all I can do to keep my own shields up, keep my mind positive, and keep moving forward and do these shows day after day after day. I mean, I said to Tony this morning, all I look forward to now are 2 hours at night where I can actually speak, where I'm not actually stuck inside my head trying to figure stuff out, of course, which is the wrong thing to do, and so I do spend a bit of time meditating. But that in it of itself is difficult based on, a lot of the things that have occurred in my life, and it's not even, I can't even say the feeling of hopelessness or anything like that. It's not like that. It's different. It's more along the lines of hurry up, guys, come on, I'm really tired of this.
Despair.
Yeah, just hurry up, wake up, for crying out loud.
I mean, you try and explain this stuff to people, and half of them that have got their own little subjects or their own subjects that they go into, they don't want to listen to the rest of the information. I've sat down. Rupert Sheldrake was one. Now he's a god as far as most people are concerned in afterlife studies, paranormal, and loads of different things. I sat down with him in London. It was like talking to a brick wall. It's like you just look at you with a blank look on your face when you talk about anything to do with free energy or medicine or things like this. He's like, what? Just doesn't get it. But then again, in his own field, he's a genius, and I agree with a lot of what he says in his own field. But it's all right looking at one field. It's that one piece of the jigsaw puzzle again. What does a doctor know about mechanics? What does an engineer, know about building a house? What does it know about bricklaying? All right, that might be pretty bad example, but I was thinking of a car engineer.
Yeah, compartmentalization.
Yeah, well, this is the point. It's all right having knowledge in one specific subject, and most of that knowledge, it's difficult to get the right information. In other words, if you're a scientist, they'll teach you Newtonian physics, which is wrong. Nobody's going to teach you Russellian science unless you go out and look for yourself, because there's nobody that will be paid to do that, and they won't sponsor any courses in that because they don't want you to know. And that's the basis of it. So it's difficult to find out one piece of this jigsaw puzzle, let alone 50, and be able to link them together in some way that makes perfect sense when you put it together the way that we can. And it's just the fact that we've managed to do that because we've researched all of these different areas, and that's simply it. So, it is what it is. You got any questions, fire them over and we'll deal with them. That's all what we can say, really. It is what it is. So we're just trying to help people understand some stuff.
Yeah, isn't it fun though? It's like, I forget which one of you guys said it tonight. You say something that is uncomfortable to people. They go into automatic shut-off mode or ignore and walk away. That's the cognitive dissonance that we're dealing with, and that whole sheeple mentality has been so deeply ingrained, and this is why, we reach out with that loving intent to say, guys, wake up, and day after day it does grind on you, and we have better days than others. There's no question there. I'm here having a human experience too, remember? All right, so if I had everything right, I wouldn't be on the air right now. I'd be observing from a different perspective, from a different dimensional reality. Promise. But the fact is, people have been hammered. And I will say this, no one on this planet has been hammered more than Americans in terms of selling the ego, the American dream, and we got the biggest military, and we got this, and we got that, and look at the size of the sports stadiums, and it goes on, the list goes on and on, right? I forget who I was talking to today about, Canada having, Perry, I was talking to today about in Canada here, you've got the hockey head mentality, in the States it's football, as in American football, and of course in the UK it's all about football, soccer form, right? And Europe and what have you. But these are the breads and circuses of an idle mind, and for people that are looking outside of themselves for entertainment. And it's very easy to control the masses when you give them exactly what it is they need to, feel comfortable, have a sense of purpose. It's like, that's my team. Go ahead. Yeah, jump in.
Kate, can I interject something here? Yeah. No, I was just, Soren Kierkegaard said something one time. He said, there's two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true, and the other is to refuse to believe what is true. Okay? And the powers that be know that. And so what they've done is they created a system where people believe that it is true, and on top of that, they will refuse to believe anything that negates their true reality of what is. And so it's kind of a double whammy. If you kind of look at it from that paradigm, is that people believe one thing to be true, but then they're also refusing to believe what really is true.
Yeah, that's the cognitive dissonance factor. Exactly, that's it nailed in a nutshell. And again, this is about encouraging, right? And I am trying to keep an eye on the chat room, guys. So hello, Mother Mac. Hey, Welsh, Kev, Ragdoll. Trying to see who else is in there. It's scrolling up too quick. But it's about encouraging those around you, and you're going to do that more through actions than words. I promise you that. It's making that effort. It's doing that simple little thing that's going to be different, that breaks the regular cognitive dissonance of our day-to-day lives. It's breaking the habits that we get up in the morning, we go to work, and we do this, and we do that, and do the other, and before you know it, we've got a repeat cycle, and after 28 days, that's habit. So what we got to do is start deciding to do something different, instead of every Friday night going to the burger joint and getting some, go death eating, and that's what I call fast food death eating. Anything fast food is death eating. Instead, take a run to the farmer's market, let's say on Saturday, and pick up all sorts of fresh vegetables and do raw, or get creative with it and maybe do a stir fry or something, and leave the meat out for a change. You'll find yourself thinking a whole lot clearer. And of course, you know me, you're in therapy. If you want to really kick your pineal into gear and get rid of a lot of that cognitive dissonance, start recycling your own life, and you'll be amazed at the difference it makes. Speaking from experience, it's a huge difference. So jump in, guys. Hey. And don't be shy. Listen, even though I'm talking, jump on it, and I shut up real quick. Promise. Well, everyone's just jumping all over that. Look at how polite you all are. Stop being so bloody polite and start talking.
Well, I have nothing to add to that, so I don't know what to say. I haven't gone that route yet, but I'm not opposed to it. But one of those, too much coffee lately, I think that would not be very pleasant.
I'll tell you what it is. It's not the coffee level, it's the conditioning level, and that's the point. I mean, we've all been brought up completely in the opposite way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's the point. Even for me, it's like, what the fuck? You have to think 2 or 3 times to, hang on, what did she just say? Yeah, you do need to get your head around it. And it is doable, but, I mean, you've got to remember, I mean, when a baby's born, it's born in, the amniotic fluid of the woman, of the mother, and it turns out to actually be urine. And we were talking to a guy, what was it, Stephen, wasn't it, from... he's an expert on setting up, what was it he called it? Health seminars all over the world. And he was talking about urethra and the fact that all these different things are made in cosmetics and in creams and in many, many, many different things. And all this urethra is collected from abattoirs and, all sorts of places where they get it, they clean it, they filter it, and then they put it into cosmetics. And it's basically cattle urine and, other urine. And they're getting the stem cells out of the urine and putting it into the pharmaceuticals. And when you remember as well, when you think of all the stem cell research that's going on, and they're raving about stem cells, stem cell this, stem cell that, but what they're not telling you is the pure abundance of stem cells everywhere. You're producing stem cells all the time, but you don't hear anybody standing up and saying, you don't hear any, let's say, mainstream doctors, medics, or anybody else saying, it's coming out in the urine, because, they get struck off for it. For the simple reason they'll also get struck off if something about cannabis oil causing cancer, when they want to put you through radiation therapy instead. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there's more profit in it, And it's always the same sorts of things again. It's just, you need to take a longer, harder look at it and just brush it off. And the harder the conditioning, or the deeper the conditioning program, the more difficult it is to do. It's amazing.
Quite a bit of disinformation. I remember when I was I think it was in gym class in high school, I recall the teacher saying something like, you can drink your urine 9 times before dying, before the toxicity level would kill you, or something to that effect. Like if you're ever stuck on the desert, you can drink your urine 9 or 10 times before you drop dead. And I grew up thinking that, and it's just the misinformation or the disinformation, and again, these teachers, they're taught to just accept whatever curriculum. They don't design these curriculums. They just dole them out without even thinking. So we get these poor children when they're young and they're perfect, and then we start filling their heads with bullshit, and then they go through this idea where they need to look up to some figure to give them approval and to let them know they're correct, and then you live to your 40s and you find out that you can drink your urine and actually really, really good for you. And, that's the reality of the world we live in.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, if you want to look at it into greater detail, you'll find that if you look into the frequency of the body and the frequency of all the different organs in the body, it's like chakras. All the different chakras resonate at different frequencies. And it's the same with all different organs in the body. I mean, there's people like Richard Cumbers are the expert that can talk about this sort of stuff, which is energy medicine, frequency medicine. Anybody with half a brain cell can go and look at cymatics and see what happens with frequencies and energy, sacred geometry, and all these sorts of things. But yeah, it's all about frequency, and it turns out that all your organs operate at the optimum frequency for your body, and they're actually producing this optimum filtered, purified, energized, and I don't know, loads of other different things that it does. But this pure fluid directly tuned to your existence, basically. And that's roughly what it's about. Just go and look it up and do some research on it. There's loads of people sort of like talking about it, and loads of mainstream physicians taking it up now, especially in places like Belgium and places like this. But interesting stuff. Dan?
Yeah, I was going to say, as much as the media wants to promote this and that and the other of negativity and how bad things are and this, that, the other. There is far more good going on at a greater level now than I can remember in any point of my life, and I got to tell you, that's one of the things that keeps me firing on all cylinders. I get a little sluggish on a couple of them from day to day, but the bottom line is I see the net results, and the net results are telling me that we're making a difference, and people are coming aboard. So actually, Sandra just tagged me. Love this, having multiple conversations. Here, I should probably just pull them in here. Tony, take it for a sec. I'm just going to type to Santo here, so see if he wants to join us.
Wonderful, certainly. I just missed what you were actually talking about at that point, so I'll just carry on from where I was. I'm just trying to think of the guy that was an expert on it. Andrew, I'm not sure if it was Weber.
Andrew Weber?
Andrew Weber, yeah.
Andrew Norton Webber, that's right. We've had Andrew on shows before when he's explained it all about, I'm trying to think of the name of his website now, and it was about over a year ago.
Aquarius the Water Bearer, isn't it?
Aquarius the Water Bearer, absolutely, spot on. But some of the things he was talking about, I mean, God, they're talking about regrowing teeth, where you've got cavities in your mouth and where the dentists are currently filling them with amalgams. They're drilling out all of the goodness, the good solid stuff in your teeth, so they can fill it full of poisonous amalgams, which contain heavy metals and all the rest of it. And then filling you full of this stuff, and every time you're chewing on the amalgams, you're getting, mercury poisoning and cyanide poisoning and heavy metal poisoning. This is on the NHS, guys. Hey, thumbs up for the NHS, eh? Anyway, but the point is, if you've got that cavity in there, what you can actually do is just swish urine around in your mouth every day, every morning, instead of as you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth, but use bicarbonate of soda, not fluoride. It's not good for you. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the point is, if you just swish that stuff around in your teeth, it regrows the enamel and regrows the tooth back into place. Wow. It's freaking amazing. And I've only recently found out about this stuff, but hey, we're not trying to hurt anybody here. All we're trying to do is give you information that's going to help you. Like it or lump it. It's either way, take it or leave it,
exactly. I just want to let you know that Santo is in the call now, and say hi.
Howdy, guys. How you going?
Yeah, we're just having a bit of a free-for-all tonight, Santo. Just, some of the shows we've done in the past, just letting rip at everything and, pointing out what's wrong and how we can fix it and blah, blah, blah. So it's, we're going to have, I said earlier, Jose Barrera was to be on and just couldn't raise him today. So.
I've been meaning to have Jose too. He's got a fountain of information now.
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot of alchemy and stuff like that, but what is very pleasing with Jose now is he is giving remedies and answers rather than just showing the information, which is good too. It's great when researchers just show information, which leaves you to be able to process it yourself, but it's also good when someone has insight, offer their views and opinions or whatever, or their knowledge at least, and then you can, form an idea from that. And that's what Jose is doing a lot more of now, since he realises that he's got a good handle on what's going on. But like a couple of years ago, he was just sort of presenting information and allowing you to make the choices. But very important that, Kate, to be able to guide people, to teach them how to think rather than what to think. Yeah, that's part of the job too, isn't it?
Yeah, we had a great show with him, 2 weeks ago? Because we had him on. We wanted to bring him back last week, and his crates got to Brazil that morning, so he was a bit worn out from unpacking them, and then we booked it for today, and we tried to raise him. But no, it's no big deal. I mean, hey, but he'd be great with doing a show with you and Johnny in Spanish on QL television, and he can bring it. There it is. You see, you guys that can, the multilinguists that can bring it not only to the English audience, but take it to the Italian, the Spanish, the Portuguese, that's what's going to make the difference. That's what's going to be the game changer.
Absolutely. Hi, Santo.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Was he the gentleman who's talking about the magic, about supernatural, how true magic is just how a human being could write something down on a piece of paper and it would change the behavior of the masses, and that really is what magic is? I found that fascinating. That just blew my mind. It just opened up a whole area. I had no idea.
Well, again, it's right along the lines of Mark Passio and that same breaking the spell. And look at it. I mean, look at a stop sign. It makes people stop. That's magic. So you can call it whatever you want. Again, if you can create an effect by doing something, look what they do in writing. They create an effect when they write something on a piece of paper. So that is magic in its very, very rawest form. So, but he's a beautiful teacher. He's got lots of great truths, and he's got such a beautiful passive way of bringing this pretty deep stuff to the table. But anyway, carry on, guys. I've talked enough tonight.
How are you, Tony? And is that Jeremiah?
Yes. I'm just.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Taking care of some work here. I'm just listening in. A wonderful show, guys. Wonderful show. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
And who was the one that made the last comment?
That was Chris from brand new No Taboo Radio, which will be coming into the Synchronicity fold as well.
Hi, Santos. How are you?
Yeah, good, Chris. I really enjoyed your comment. Yes.
Oh,
I just want to know. Yeah, I want to know who you were. Very good.
I'm sorry, I can't thank you enough. I've been following you for some time and all your work, and I've been tuning into your weekly seminars, and I can't tell you how you've made a couple connections for me that I'm a musician also, as well as you and Kate. And what you said about the going from like an E to an F would be 30 degrees, and that just blew my mind. I had never thought of music in that manner as the 12 constellations, the 12 apostles, the 12 the semitones of the scale. Anyway, I was blown away by that. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a really good point. If you draw a circle and you space it out with 30-degree segments, you can do your circle of fifths around that, and of course all musicians know what I'm talking about. But once you do your circle of fifth around the circle, try this. If you're familiar with my graph of the sine wave and astrology, everything like that, try placing perhaps the C note on where Leo is. And of course next to Leo is the moon, right? So Cancer and Leo. Now, what happens, this is really interesting. It's really, really easy to understand how music is related to astrology, is related to light and everything else. Music is light. But that circle of 12, of the circle of fifths and the zodiac, they match perfectly. And I'll give you a hint as to how they match. Here's the hint number one. And it's the only one I'll give because, it's good. It's good when you point things out to people and then they go off and link other things themselves and work it out for themselves. You don't give too much. This will open your mind. It's just beautiful. When you look at astrology, you will see that Leo and Cancer are special because they are the two houses, signs that have the luminaries in them. Cancer is ruled by the moon, it's common knowledge, and Leo's ruled by the sun. But what happens next is there's 5 planets that rule the other 10. So each of the 5 visible planets, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, and Venus, they get 2 other signs. And this is how it works. In the order of closeness to the Sun, i.e. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter and Saturn, you place all of those planets from Cancer and Leo away from those 2 signs. In other words, this is what you do. You grab Mercury and you put it next to the Moon, to the side of the Moon in Gemini, right next door to Cancer. And then you grab Mercury and you put him right next to the Sun near Leo on the Virgo side. So there you see Mercury hug the 2 luminaries because he's the closest one to the Sun. Next around the circle, going in both directions, clockwise and anti-clockwise, because you're starting with the Sun and the Moon together in 2 signs. And so you've got to go. Then you grab Mercury and you place it next to the Moon and next to the Sun. Keep going around clockwise and anti-clockwise, filling those spaces, and then you begin to realize something. You begin to realize that Mercury is always near, never can be further than 28 degrees from the Sun in any chart ever taken in history, because Mercury is never more than 1 sign away from the Sun. And Venus can never be more than 2 signs away from the Sun. And this is called, in astrology, a sextile. A sextile in music is a tone, 2 semitones. So Venus produces 2 semitones or a tone away from the sun, Mercury can only ever be a semitone away from the sun. So you're getting that, Chris? Is that?
No, that's truly something else.
Yeah, and so this is where you see a semitone is great. It sounds great in music. That's mercurial. The tone is beautiful. A tone anywhere you play is beautiful. It's a harmonious sound, and it is Venus. The next one in line is Mars. So if you get a tone and a semitone, that becomes a 90-degree square in astrology. 3 signs, which is exactly how you space it out in the circle of fifths. Because the circle of fifths now, if you know what that is, a fifth is a fifth note in the scale. So if you're starting with C, D, E, F, G. G is the fifth. So what you do is you start with a C in the circle of fifth. The next one is going to be a G. So it jumps from a C all the way to a G. Then the next one will be G's fifth. And so by the time you go all around, you've got all the notes of the musical scale. But astrology teaches you the angles or the note, because when you're playing music, you can play a semitone, you can play a tone, you can play a tone and a semitone, you can play all sorts of different harmonics, and I'm trying to get the correct word here, but yeah, you can jump any note in the scale. You can go, and that's why music is so beautiful, because of all the variety. It's infinite. But the thing is, those tones that you make, that you produce, will harmonize with each of the planets. A beautiful semitone is Mercury. A tone always will be Venus. A tone and a semitone, which is very bluesy and angular, that's Mars. And a beautiful major two tones is Jupiter. Yeah, it's just 2 tones in a row. That's a major triad. Mars is a minor triad. Saturn is everything augmented and diminished and suspended, all those chords. Not diminished, sorry. Yeah, and so it gives you sort of like that satanic Satan, in other words, because it's confusing the music. You see, this is why in the Middle Ages they called the flattened seventh. They called that satanic. They said you're not allowed to play that. No one in all of the opera houses and concert halls and in the institutions were allowed to use that note. They had to use the major seventh. Because again, it gets very complicated, but I can explain what the flattened seventh is all about. But it's really about astrological aspects. That's what it is. The same thing is going on in the heavens. When you are born, there's a cacophony of musical tones and semitones and triads, major and minor, going on, and they are produced by the relative planets that I mentioned. And so it's like an orchestra of music. When you're born, you've got all of these beautiful frequencies leveling off and harmonizing, and so it's actually what it's called is Joseph's coat of many colors. That's what it is. Huh. Those 12 diatonic notes, the chromatic scales of the music. And isn't that interesting that everything important, everything of major significance in legends has to do with the number 12. Music is important. Yeah, music is important. 12 notes. Astrology is important. 12 divisions, 12 signs. Jesus thought it was an important number. He collected 12 disciples, right? The 12 tribes of Israel. It's a very important number because the whole universe expresses itself. It has been figured. So the universe is figured to be a dodecahedron by all of the great minds who have ever lived. They all come to this understanding of the universe eventually. They all acknowledge that 12 is the overriding number of the full expression, the full extent of expression of this universe. And it's beautiful. And music is a witness to that. Music is a great witness to that. It's a perfect witness to the fact that there are 12 chromatic colors, 12 lights, 12 energies, 12 essences, and the sun knows it. You know, clearly, astrology teaches this science perfectly. It teaches that those 12 are divided into 3 modalities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable, and 4 elements. And once you work all of this out and you use those ingredients, you can understand everything. You can see everything. Nothing will trick you. When you meet someone, you will get a sense of their sign, their light, their sound, their color. You will know whether they've got a Leo ascendant or a Gemini moon. You pick these things up, man. You just know it. Eventually, the science leads you to the intuition area, which gives you into all-knowing. But see, this is the thing. It's the people that have total no-knowing that condemn the sciences that can give them, that can shift them from the left brain to the right brain in terms of changing, facts and information, knowledge and understanding, and turning those into wisdom. So they have been trained and educated to poison their own minds by denying the true wisdom. There's only one true science/religion in the universe, and it's astrology. And that's it. And sooner or later, we will all recognize it. Sooner or later, every single living light being must recognize that this dance of light is a light of 12ness. And it doesn't need any more, and it can do with less, but it doesn't. It does things in completeness. Everything is complete and developed, even though it is evolving. It still begins with intelligent completeness. Everything is pure intelligence. And this is why these left-brained sequential linear type thinkers will accept any theory that comes along. Like everybody accepted Darwin's theory of evolution, although he got a lot of things right that he's got to be acknowledged for that. But essentially, the fact that it starts off with a mechanical, dead, unconscious soup, very material, and then everything develops and evolves and grows from that with no intelligent direction, well, is absolutely ludicrous. So fundamentally, he's just got off on the fundamental wrong foot. But all the other things that he discovered and understood about evolution is perfectly true. It's just that it is an intelligent causal force, or we should say power, that uses the forces of nature to grow it, to develop it. It starts off perfect, finishes off more perfect. It finishes off complete and rounded, and so that it can return to rest. Anyway, guys, there you go. Wow.
Well, I mean, Darwin himself, Santo, said that if ever intelligent design was proven, then my theories are no longer in holding, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And it is intelligent design. It absolutely is. What happened is the controllers got hold of Darwin stuff, like they do with everybody. They misinterpret the philosopher like Karl Marx, and they grab them and take over their ideologies and theories and their beautiful thinking. They grab them and they immediately... Yes, number one, you've got to pervert it, slightly. They did that with, we hear of Malthesius, and we hear of his Malthusian, oh, terrible. And then we hear about what other philosophers. There's another one there. in the Malthus vein. You know, when you hear guys like Alex Jones always saying, "Oh, that's Malthusian," you know, these guys, they didn't go out and write, you know, treatises and works, you know, and so they would be known for their evil and their stupidity. You know, I mean, everything that Plato wrote was exquisite and perfect, and yet still the controllers managed to get his work, The Republic, and turn it into a model for them to pervert, and, you know, pretty much like they do with cures and treatment. You know, they teach doctors that there's no such thing as cures. That's funny. But we're so advanced now, we can treat anything. You know, we can just treat it. We don't cure it. But we're advanced now, so we go treating things. And that's what they've done with these philosophers, like Plato. When I see people attacking Plato because he wrote the foundational work of control, which is the Republic, what a freaking crock of shit. You know, these are morons who have been poisoned by morons for the purpose of seeing these morons turn around and perpetrate their filthy, stupid lies so they can get a kick out of it, so that they can, you know, see how good they are at altering history, so that we end up being stupid repeaters of lies.
Yep.
To favour their actions of control over us.
Exactly. Derailing the system, basically, to keep everybody going around in circles.
Yeah, they've purposely gone after guys like Plato to derail his beautiful wisdom and turn it into their controlling stuff. There's not a thing at all in the words of Plato that are used for control, that were designed for control. Sure, they're used for control, just like the Bible. Same thing. I've proven that the Bible is just a literary masterpiece. It's not literal. You know, it's literal. It's literarily true. It's a great literary work. So it annoys me when you see people on either side, atheists condemning the book as an aberration, a blueprint for enslavement and murder, and for the Jews to get away with all crimes around the world, the Zionist Jews, of course. And, of course, then you've got your Christian Jews that back them up because they think they're the children of God. We're all the children of God. That's what the Bible was trying to tell us. It's not a literal, there's 12 tribes and everybody else is a pagan mutt, you know, a goy. And when the Bible talks about go and kill those Canaanites and dash their children to pieces, children are unevolved thoughts. They are vices that haven't been turned into virtues. They are thoughts that are deceptive and leave us into slavery. They are the only children that we need to slay, because an adult is a mature thought, and if that adult has matured in wisdom, no need to kill it. But children who are stupid, or thoughts that are useless, you know, that lead us into captivity, for instance, lead us to take drugs like ecstasy, or go to parties where you can, I don't know, get damaged somehow, or get involved with anything that will pollute and corrupt one. That's what we, you know, need to kill. That's why the Bible says to kill. Yeah, I'm for that. I'm for killing everything that is base in my nature. Because all of the children, the Canaanites and Perizzites and all of those evil things that we're supposed to kill are in our bodies. Everything out there is a mirror of what's going on in us. If you don't like what's out in the world and all that shit that's going on, change what's inside. Because it is absolutely a mirror. Absolutely a mirror. It is nothing but a mirror. What is going on out there, all that greed and all that shit and killing, is what we are doing. And we have not perfected ourselves. Now, I'm not talking about individuals. There's individuals listening that are going, hey, that's not me. I've never killed. I'm peaceful and everything like that. Yes, individuals do rise above this and pull themselves out. But we, collectively, no. Collectively, we need to, lift it up. And that's what we are doing. That's why we're here on the radio, because we're hoping that people will listen that need this information, join forces with the truth, and then all of a sudden we have a collective that is saved, and not just individuals here and there scattered about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goes right back to music again. I was talking earlier about the resonant frequency. When we strike a higher chord and maintain that chord, playing that song, the other instruments by default have to come up and tune up with us. That's nature's way. That's natural law, and nature abhors a vacuum. So start strumming the higher notes, and by default we'll pull that consciousness up with us. So a lot of responsibility on those that are awake. You guys that are listening. Awakening is one thing. Now the real work begins. This is where you're awake and you're striving more and more every day to find more and more truth. That's a big responsibility. Not only finding it, but holding in that truth. In my position, it's heels dug in deep, and bring it on.
Yep, it's irresistible now. Bring it on is, it's superfluous, isn't it? It's on. It is on. That's all the universe can do, is bring it on. It is always lovingly giving us two choices. We usually opt for the painful choice, but sooner or later we work it out. You work it out. There's pain and suffering down that way. I've been there before. And the universe will lovingly, always direct us in the right way, but will never force us. And here we are, and we're living on a planet where many have not awakened. That's obvious. But we have been there. We know where they are, and they can only awaken when they're ready. Let's just hope and pray that will happen really, really soon. And the timeline of the universe is now at a point where she requires that either you wake up really quick, or you're going to be, ones that have not developed enough will have to continue in cycles of reincarnation. It will not be on this planet. It will be somewhere else similar to this planet. But those ones will have to continue to suffer till they get it. And they're our brothers, and we love them. But each one will produce the correct vibration at the right time when they are ready. And it is unfortunate that many will have to continue on because there's definitely only pleasure and pain on this plane. There is definitely only pleasure and pain. You cannot escape the pain. You can have a lot of pleasure, you can have more pleasure than pain, but you will still have pain. Look at the rich, look at the famous, study them and see what happens. Study them. You see, they seem to die quicker. They've got more furrows and burrows and wrinkles. They've got so much Botox now to hide it, but underneath, goof, woof. All they're doing is living to worry about their money, how they can get more, how they can protect what they've accrued already, where there's a great investment opportunity, and that's all they're doing, and that doing that is killing them. It's a poison to do that.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about this LA rogue LA cop that I don't want to use the word snapped, because that's not it. He had enough, and and I'm thinking of the people that he's already affected as far as within his former police department. Now, you can talk about good or evil. Let's talk about good and evil. The good that is coming out of this is the abrupt awakening that some of those cops are having right now, because for the first time probably in their cop lives since they became cops, they realized that they were mortal, and there's going to be a few people, ones that have already been directly affected with what he's done, are going to really be asking themselves serious questions. And therein, what you were saying about the pain, Santo, maybe this is the level of pain that they need in order for them to start seeing their own mirrors, by asking themselves why that happened to them. You see, because everyone's had something happen to them, and they're going to, hey, I've asked the question many times, why? And those are the difficult questions we have to answer within, where like Santa was saying, everything is a mirror, and I'm always the first source that I go to, and I don't make my own life comfortable in that regard, because I'm looking at things from what is my role in my position right now, and I know that based on what I've been through, I wouldn't be able to talk the way I do now without that. So I'll take the good out of it, and yeah, there was a lot of pain, and it is ongoing, but I do understand that growing aspect of it, to the point where you said, Santo, universe is going to wake people up soon, or they're going to have to wake up soon, or again, like you're saying, recycle. And yeah, it's not a matter of if now, guys. It's a matter of when, and we all feel it. There's something coming. And I'm just glad that I'm where I'm at right now, spiritually, and so many others that are listening and have chipped in and put their lives on hold to bring this message out. And there's Chris with your brand new station. Hey, while you got Santo, you might want to ask him if he wants to do a show with you.
I'd love to. That would be amazing. That would be excellent. I would love to have all of you to do. I'd love to just pass this. Again, I'm not in any way. This is my tagline. I am not an expert. I'm not an authority. I just have a crap load of love, and I think that the only way, there's only one path, and that is to have the Gandhi, the unconditional love. That's why I called my show Unconditional Love from Chris, because that's all I have to offer, and I will accept everything with love, because I can see there's no other way. There's no way you can win with force. You can't win. I view myself as already winning. I've won, because I've had 45 amazing years on this planet, and everything from this point on is just gravy for me. And you asked earlier what your turning point, or what the point is that switched you. And it's funny, and also, Kate, you mentioned that you had something tragic happen to you on the 12th of February last year. I believe that was correct. Well, my mom passed away on the 12th of February 2011, and I'm doing a show this Tuesday on the anniversary of her passing. The day I went to the hospital, she died. She had cancer, and I believe that had I known what I know now, perhaps she would still be here. She went through the standard allopathic way, chemotherapy, many rounds, and eventually she succumbed. But I'll tell you, the gift she gave me, greater than the gift of life, was when I was in the hospital room and I saw her. I got there maybe 5 minutes after she had passed. And the look on her face, I will never forget. She had the most peaceful, it's like any lines of creases or wrinkles were just gone, and I don't recall having seen her look with so peacefully, and it just reinforced the idea that we're living wrong. And she carried all this with her, and I think a lot of her upbringing and things like that carried through, and she developed cancer, and that's that. But having walked away from that, I thought to myself, there's something else. And having just seen the shell of her body left, which remained there, and it's not the same. And so no one can tell me there's no soul. I don't care what you call it, whatever it is. I view myself as just a divine spirit engaged in a human experience, as this in this avatar of flesh, blood, and bone, commonly known as Chris, and I am that I am, as you folks say, and here I am. So I don't know what else to tell you about that, but that was my defining moment, and I've latched on to you and Santos and Tony and Kyler. I knew Kyler from a while back, and thank you so much. I don't want to take up too much time.
Oh, Chris, no problem. And anytime. I mean, this is one of the things that I know Santo, myself, and Tony of humble pride in. And
have you vanished, Kate, or is it just the signal? Can anybody else hear me, guys?
I can hear you, Tony.
Excellent. Okay, so Kate's probably dropped off there. No, that was absolutely amazing. I mean, I've got to agree with you completely. We are spiritual beings just having a human experience, just a meat stick while we're here. And it's one hell of a convincing meat stick, mind, that you can make this stuff up. But no, it's just a one experience in the infinity of experiences. It's incredible stuff. And like you say, I mean, every lesson, no matter how hard, is also a lesson. And I understand and connect with you exactly on what you just said. And I'm sorry to hear about your mother, but as you say, yeah, it's a journey. Life is a journey.
Indeed it is. And I view it. I don't think she was. I don't think she was. She was aware of some things, but I view it as my responsibility now to pick up this. And I have a I don't have kids or anything like that, but I have family who have kids, and I need to. I have a responsibility to at least provide an alternative to show something else that instead of what the American Idol or whatever they have to.
Hey Chris, knowledge is the most valuable gift you can give to anybody. That's it. Period. And Santo, I'm sure, will agree with that.
Yeah, sorry guys, my Skype got zinged there, so I'm just trying to get Santo back on here with me. I had him in with me, so when I got hit, he got hit too. So carry on, Tony.
Yeah, again, it's all about the experience. It's all about it's all about the experiences that you take back with you. And I was looking at some fascinating information. Pardon me. Earlier on today, just while I was doing everything else, getting ready for the show and organising things. But it's called. There's a website that if people really, really want to know. Okay, now this is real information that's been hidden. Santos has talked about it before, but Russellian science. It's all about the physics of light. And if you go to a website called www.secretoflight.com, and there's a whole series of tutorial videos on there which talk about the harmonics, the frequencies. Wow, it's incredible stuff. And that's www.secretsoflight. And that stuff really brings it home, and it certainly did for me. But
yeah, and we have Santo back, by the way, so there we go. Sorry about that, Santo.
No worries.
Yeah, my Skype got zinged, so there we go. We got almost 10 minutes left, so carry on, guys.
Yeah,
hey, Chris.
Sorry, carry on.
Sorry. Yeah, I was thinking about your mother. You're talking about your mother, and she was smiling when she passed, and you used. My mind goes to those two words, past and smiling. We have been really, really led down the garden path, folks. There's no such thing as death. There's just no such thing as death. The universe does not do it. It doesn't acknowledge death. There's only life. But it is life in the stillness. And that's where we are not, because we're so freaking busy in the vibration. We really, really, really dig this Maya illusion so much that we believe in duality more than unity. So it's all about a decision. Now I'm talking collectively, it's not you and me, but when your mother passed, Chris, she was smiling because she realized that she was eventually, at the end of her life, it takes till the end of your life sometimes to realize that you are one with all that exists. You're a part of it. You cannot be individualized to the extent of separation. It's only for the experience. Individuality is only for the experience. And she realized, hey, my son is me, my husband is me, the president is me. It's all just a dance and a play, and we are all the same consciousness, the same source. And she realized that, and that smile is a smile of what you call salvation. You don't even need salvation. That's a crock too, because naturally we will be pulled into the light. You just have to go with the light, go with the flow, as they say. When you resist it, well, then you resist it, and then it takes you longer to get into that light. But it's the still light where we are And so people are so caught up in duality and the vibration of the two lights, electricity and magnetism, motion. It's a beautiful dance. I mean, let's face it, it's great. You know, this is what got Narcissus. It's what got Samson. It's what got Adam in all of those myths and legends. You know, Prometheus. And they all got seduced by this beautiful game down here. And that's because of the power that we have, that thoughts can crystallize, universes, material universes. And they are our thoughts. They are our thoughts that have done it. That's why there's nothing new under the sun. There is nothing new under the sun. We are only here to wake up inside the dream. When we wake up inside the dream, then we smile, because we realize, it's only a dream. You can't die from this. You can never die. And that's the fear that they've got us hooked and got by the short and curlies, and it's that fear. They love it. They know that there is fear by ignorance. And so their religions, their religions are based on ignorance. Even though they say, we want you to know God and be saved, and we want you to read these books about God, and you can come to Sunday school and learn about Him. No. It's all poisonous mind control to keep you dumb and ignorant about God that you are. The one that denies, look, who denies divinity, really? The only ones left now are atheists that deny their divinity, because they deny God, which is themselves, and churchgoers. Think about it. Churchgoers are actually denying their own divinity. I mean, what's the point then? You know, everything outside of them is greater than them, and they will always be the nothings that receive the benefits and the privileges and the extra specials that they grovel for.
It's true. So true. Go ahead, Chris. And we haven't heard. I was going to say we haven't heard from Aaron. We got like a little less than 5 minutes.
Oh, I'm still here. I just enjoy listening to Santos.
Yeah. Don't we all?
Yes. I mean, I don't ever get tired of that. So Santos, keep it up. You're bringing it tonight, and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, thank you, and I really appreciate that. I really do, because look, sometimes after a few minutes, I think I'm ranting, and I'm trying to rein it in, and keep it good, keep it positive. We are all positive. We are all God. We are remembering who we are. We are remembering each other. We are getting familiar with each other's voices and the pain and suffering that all of us have all individually gone through. We're all suffering now. We've got our beautiful brother Dean Clifford in prison, who should not be in prison. The world knows that. We need to expose this to the whole world, that people who are so liberating of mankind and so desirous to help other people are in prison. This is what we've got to change right now, immediately. Only people who are viciously animalistic, who kill and do those things, should be in prison.
I couldn't agree more, Santo. Couldn't agree more. Well, we got a little over 3 minutes. I'm just going to say my little splur here, or blurb, whatever. I just want a big thank you to Paul and Lisa and the crew at Critical Mass Radio for giving us this platform. And Chris, I sent you a Skype request so I can get you hooked up with Santo and Tony, myself, and get you into the mainstream of the independents here, so that we can get. Hey, your voice is important. We're all important. This is what Santo is so eloquently bringing to the table tonight. As always, this is the reason why I've been hanging around him for the last year and a half. So. He's got a lot of wisdom, and it's always a treat when you show up, Santo. And thanks. Just it's I was getting a little. Yeah, well, we bring Santo in, and Santo, you never rant, my friend. It's never a rant. It's always just pure truth just pouring out of you. So, carry on. Yeah,
thanks, Kate. And look, I have to return the compliment because. you yourself have given so much to the world in terms of wisdom and words. Man, oh man, oh man, how many words have you, unfolded, with the law and everything, in the Denicae Ultimatum and the Clausula Rebus, and everyone, everybody today listening and on the panel, we are wise. We are intelligent. We belong to an intelligent universe. We've been told that we were dumb. We've been told that, and we're all just oozing with it. It's just a matter of not being distracted and going to the stillness, knowing who you are. That's the most important thing.
Oh, great.
Knowing who you are. And, as above, so below. If you are connected with everything, and you are, then you've got suns and stars and galaxies and all sorts of dynamic universes within you.
Yeah, and tip of the hat to Tony for the incredible amount of work you put into a very difficult book that I'll be honest, going through it. I don't know how you did it, Tony, with the links and everything else. That's just laborious beyond my patience, But anyway, I just want to throw that out there as well. But guys, Aaron, Chris, Jeremiah, who's not on the call at this point, hopefully you can still listen in, but Tony, Santo, everyone that called in tonight, you made a difference. So look in the mirror tonight and say, yes, I made a difference today, because you did. And everyone listening, you can look in the mirror as well and say the same thing, because you became part of the collective one and what we're trying to do. So look in your mirror tonight and say, I made a difference and I changed the world today, because you did. And you changed it for the better. And that's all I want to say. So any last words from you guys?
I want to say I love you all, and thank you so much for everything that you've done for me. I can't tell you how appreciative I am and grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, thank you, Kate. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Santos. Thank you very much for everything that you guys do and what you guys have sacrificed. And you will be repaid. The universe always repays. It doesn't always pay on Friday, but it always pays, and it will come back to you.
In the form of a beautiful world around me is all I'm looking for, and that means it's all better for you. So it works as a one consciousness thing. So we're only helping ourselves, right?
Yes.
So, but Aaron, thank you so much for calling in. And you know what, guys? We're in the recording set now, so no stress. But I can't stress this enough for people to, be involved, be part of it. I've said it many times. I never want to come across as someone like an Alex Jones or whatever that you can't just call up and say, hey, how's it going? Because that's not what we're about. We're about unity, and we're about connecting. So call in anytime, and we're all equals in this call. The only thing I'm doing that's different than you guys is I'm pushing a few buttons here. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So, actually, I think we're all pushing more than a few buttons when we're talking, but you know what I'm saying. So, any last words, guys? Because I'll wrap this up, and I'll just say a great big thank you to all the listeners, and of course, Critical Mass and you guys. So, thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Yep. Thanks to the callers.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling in,
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Thank you.
Santa.
All right, you've been listening to Cosmic Blueprints here on Critical Mass Radio. I was going to say outside the box. I'm so used to saying that. Where we've had Chris and Aaron and Tony Z, Santo Bonacci, and yours truly, Kate of Gaia, having a little sit-round chit-chat, and of course Jeremiah was on earlier as well. So much love to all, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow night on QL Television. Don't forget, mugshots and all. Much love to everybody. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.